Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We had some slight technical difficulties getting started, but we are here now. So let us jump right into it. Thank you for joining us, everyone, as we prepare for week 6 of the MEAC Weekly Coaches Football Video Conference. I am Karen Cardy, the Assistant Commissioner for Media Relations here at the MEAC, and I will serve as the moderator for today's meeting. I'd like to remind our media members that to ask a question, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. And when you're acknowledged, please state your name and the media outlet you are representing. Before we get started with our coaches, we will hear from Mr. Jeff Cunningham, the MEAC's Director of Media Relations. Jeff?
Good morning, everybody. MEAC preseason Offensive Player of the Year, Jawan Carter, found the end zone in overtime as Norfolk State defeated rival Hampton 44-47 in the Battle of the Bay for the Spartans' third consecutive win. Carter accounted for 5 touchdowns, rushing for 3 and throwing 2 more in the victory. Jared Lewis found Trey Gross from 17 yards out in overtime as Delaware State snapped its 3-game losing streak with a 33-27 win over Wagner on Saturday. Savion Wilkerson led the Hornets with a career-best 169 rushing yards and a touchdown. Corey Fields Jr. threw for 314 yards, and Dante Anthony found the end zone twice as South Carolina State picked up its first win of the season on Saturday, a 42-35 triumph over Bethune-Cookman at Willie Jeffries Field in Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. Howard also picked up its first win of 2021, defeating Sacred Heart 22-17 in the Bison's home opener behind 3 touchdown passes from Quentin Williams. North Carolina Central lost a heartbreaker in the final minute, falling 17-16 at Mississippi Valley State, and Morgan State fell 27-14 to St. Francis at home. In volleyball, Delaware State just keeps winning. The Hornets have now won 12 in a row and are a perfect 4-0 in MEAC play after wins this past weekend over Maryland Eastern Shore and Norfolk State. North Carolina Central is 3-0 in conference play after sweeping South Carolina State this past Friday. And this weekend, we'll see the Hornets and the Eagles square off with first place on the line. Delaware State and North Carolina Central are also having strong seasons in cross country. This past weekend, the Eagles won their 3rd meet of the season in taking the Cedric Walker Hbcu Challenge in Cary, North Carolina, while Albert Norman broke his own school record in helping the Hornets take the title in the Don Cathcart Invitational. For more information on the MEAC and its 16 sponsored sports, please visit meacsports.com. You can also follow the MEAC on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MEAC Sports. And subscribe to the MEAC Digital Network on YouTube.
Okay, in the interest of time, we will move forward with Coach Oliver, who is here with us. Good morning, Coach Oliver. How are you?
Come on. Good morning.
Morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm well. You kind of caught me off guard a little bit right there.
Sorry, but glad you were here so we could head right to you. All right, Coach. Your Eagles had a heartbreaking 1-point loss this weekend at Mississippi Valley State. The game went down to the final minute. Can you tell us a little bit about the game?
Yeah, definitely a heartbreaking loss. We were down in Itabena playing Mississippi Valley State, and we lost to a team that I thought that we should have beaten. And obviously very disappointing, and I take full responsibility for our football team not playing better than what they did. I thought offensively, we're way too inconsistent. At times we move the ball well. But I think up front, where it starts, we must improve up front. I think we get 4 sacks and 7 tackles for a loss. So offensively, we must play much better, much more consistent. Defense, I thought we played well most of the game, but we let them go down that last drive, and we gave up a touchdown. So we guys still had heads up. It was a very disappointing loss, but when you play on the road, especially a non-conference team, you can't let it be close. So it was opportunities for us to put the game away, and we didn't. And, you know, when you don't do that and you don't execute, you know, things like this happen.
What will you concentrate on this week in practices to get things back on the right track?
Well, first of all, we got to get some guys back. I mean, we had 29 guys out this past week, injured that did not play, weren't able to play. And 14 of those guys are out for the season. So we're a banged up team. We got to find a way to get back healthy. But I think, again, obviously up front, we have to get better. And then it's about guys doing their job. And we have guys in position at times. And then, you know, guys try to make the play. And you don't have to make every play. Just do your job and make the plays that come to you. Last play of the game, you know, guys should have leverage on the football. And we don't leverage the football, give a big play, you know, just trying to do too much at times. But I have seen growth in our football team, but we still have ways to go.
All right, Tennessee Tech is up next this week. The Golden Eagles picked up their first win on Saturday after 4 straight losses. What type of game should we expect on Saturday?
It's going to be another physical game. It's probably going to be the biggest offensive line we've seen all year. They are very physical. They're a physical conference. And I don't think that their record is indicative of the type team that they are. You know, they played a bunch of, you know, really good football teams from Furman to Tennessee and some other folks. So, you know, we can't look at their record. They're going to come in here hungry. And obviously we've shown a weakness on film and, you know, they're going to try to attack us. So we're excited to be back at home. We've been on the road for four road games thus far. So we'll be happy to be back at home in Durham.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck. Those conclude my questions for you. We will now begin with some media questions. First question coming from Mr. Michael Jefferson. Mr. Jefferson, you there? Okay, seems like Mr. Jefferson isn't there. Do we have any other questions for Coach Oliver? All right, Mr. Jefferson, you got one last chance before we let Coach Oliver get to his day. All right, Coach, no responses here. Thank you for being with us and good luck this week.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. North Carolina Central will host Tennessee State on Saturday in Durham, North Carolina. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. at O'Kelly Riddick Stadium, and the game can be seen live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we have Rod Milstead of Delaware State. Are you here with us, Coach?
I am here.
Morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm glad to be here. How are you?
I am well. Glad to be here as well. All right, Coach. The Hornets got back in the win column on Saturday with a 33-27 victory on the road at Wagner. Can you recap the game for us, particularly the winning drive in overtime?
That game had a lot of ebbs and flows. We started off slow. First play of the game, our safety goes to make a knockout hit and misses. And the receiver takes the ball 78 yards. When you start a game off like that in the first 15 seconds and you're down 7-0, it's very, very heartbreaking. It was difficult to get the team back into the flow of the football game. Now you're down 14-0, and it's tough. And then you're 14-7, and in the halftime we go in the locker room, we're 20-7. And of course, you know, most people would think, hey, same old Hornets, there they go again, you know. But this was the first time all year long that we've been down in the football game in the first half. Most of the time we're either up or we're tied. And it was exciting to see our guys at halftime come together and decide that they weren't going to let this happen. And we came out, scored 20 unanswered points to go ahead. And it was a dogfight. It was a dogfight till the very end. Should have won it in the first overtime. Had a chip shot our kicker the biggest moment of his life, and he didn't get it done. Thank God our defense stood tall, and our offense stood up, and we gambled and took a shot in the end zone, ended up scoring a touchdown for the go-ahead victory. And very, very proud of our guys, how they did not quit. And this is the first week they actually played four quarters of football. More than that now, 5 and 6, because we had 2 overtimes. So extremely proud of our young men. We still got a lot of work to do. They see that, a lot of mistakes were still made, but it is very good to be on this side fixing the mistakes after a win than after it was the previous 3 weeks.
I agree. 169 was a recurring number for you on Saturday. Quarterback Jared Lewis threw for 169 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Savion Wilkerson rushed for 169 yards and a score. Talk about their play in the game against Wagner.
Both of those guys stepped their game up. First half, Jared was off. I mean, as a quarterback, there were a lot of things that we could have done, and for some reason, he just had a bad first half. Second half, walking down the steps to the field, and he looks at me and said, "Coach, I got you." And I don't know what resonated inside of him, but he started making the throws, making good decisions, and ultimately gave our team an opportunity to win. And then Savion Wilkerson is a pretty special back right now. I believe he leads the MEAC in rushing. He's pretty special, and we're very, very fortunate to have him. That young man does not want to go down. First hit, second hit, he's dragging people, and he just had a good day. Didn't want to feed him that much, but he was so on a roll for 40 carries. That's a lot for a back to take, and we got to find a way to start sharing some of that wealth because we're going to need him in the long haul going down for the MEAC stretch.
Awesome. This Saturday, it's your homecoming and you're hosting Virginia Lynchburg. How will you keep your players focused during the week with this week full of homecoming festivities?
Well, unfortunately, it's not our homecoming. Our homecoming is October 23rd, and that game would be against South Carolina State to open the MEAC run. So we are playing Virginia Lynchburg this Saturday, and it gives us an opportunity to really focus in on our fundamentals. Lynchburg has been struggling. The first 4 or 5 games, they've been struggling. And, that's the team that scares me the most. Those teams that have not won a game, like Wagner. It was their homecoming, and they hadn't won a game. They played their best football game. So those teams always concern me because I don't want our guys to play down and lay an egg. So we got a lot of work to do. We have a standard here at Delaware State, and that's what I was telling our guys about yesterday at our team meeting. There's a standard on how we do things. So regardless of who we play, we got to play up to the standard. And I really believe the second half we played up to the standard of Delaware State football, and the guys got a chance to taste victory again. So we're excited. Gives us another opportunity, and to see a lot of folks play this weekend. That's one of our key things. We want to see a lot of guys play this weekend.
Awesome. Definitely apologize for that homecoming mix-up, but those are all the questions I have for you. We will now turn to the media. Mr. James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good, sir. I hope you and everybody at Dale State is safe and sound. Congratulations on that victory. When you put a football team together and you guys continue to chip away and work hard and you get the W, how refreshing is it? How motivating is it? And how special is it?
It's really special. My halftime speech was definitely uncensored, and it was directed to our coaching staff and to our players on 2 separate segments. And it was said with conviction and meaning. And I challenged our coaching staff and I challenged our players that today it stops. Today it stops. Today is the day we take a step. We've never been in this situation. It's uncomfortable, but the great teams find a way to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And the way that they came together, and then I wish I had a microphone on the sideline to hear the players just policing themselves, saying, we got this. Come on, defense, get the ball back. Offense, go score. It was very, very welcoming to hear a different side of our football program and see that players and coaches all on one accord, understanding that regardless of what our circumstances were, we were not going to let our circumstances define that outcome of that football game. So very, very proud of our program and where we are. We have a lot of work to do, of course, but we want to continue and put 2 wins together because that hasn't been done in some time here at Del State. Put 2 back-to-back wins together, and let's go on a roll from there.
Coach, the Hornets offense is clicking. The running game, setting the tone, and also the passing game. Can you just talk about those 2 aspects of Hornets football and how important that can be?
Well, the biggest thing is that we want to be a complete football team. And earlier in the season, our defense was the key driven factor on our success against again, our first game against Bowie. And we wanted to, offense took a while to get going. I think we've made progress, but we still are not where we want to be. We set goals for ourselves, and we hit some of them this weekend, but we still have a lot of goals that we want to complete on the offensive side of the football. Our goal is to get over 30 points a game. We did that, and to get a running back, over 100 yards, and that was done as well. But still, we want our quarterback to put up some of the numbers that we see other quarterbacks, 300-yard games. We haven't had that in some time. So that's on the list next time. And hopefully we'll be able to get that accomplished this weekend and have over 500 yards of offense. That hasn't been done in some time as well. So what we do is we make small steps, small progressions to get to the big picture. We knew that this season is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And it's going to get tougher once we get into that MEAC run. So we're excited. Like I said, we're excited this weekend to have UV and Lynchburg and to get some guys healed up, but also to see if we can get some of our younger guys on the field by playing up to the standard of Del State football early.
Coach, in closing, when you play a football team, with all due respect, Lynchburg, and you feel like there's a great opportunity there, can you just talk a little bit about Lynchburg, what you see from that team and how challenging it can be for them? But again, I mean, it's competitive and it should be a good football game.
Well, the one thing, they have a lot of players that are scrappy. They run well. They're just fighters. And you watch them on film and against UV Wise, and they're fighting. You watch them against Mars Hill, and they're fighting the entire football game. And the score is not in their favor. But the one thing I can say is Coach he's building it. They're a better football program than they were when they came here in 2018. And the teams that are, haven't won are the ones that really concern me the most, because they are desperate for a win. They will do anything for a win. So you're talking about trick plays. You're talking about a lot of blitzing. You're talking about just sacrificing everything to create havoc. So we have to stay fundamentally sound, and we got to play to the standard. And I want to see Delaware State play 4 quarters of football. And that's what our intentions are going to be. And I'm hoping and praying after last weekend that we've got out that funk that we were in and that we can play more consistent football.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Cavell.
Yes, Coach Milstead, you talk about the fact of progress, the need to play 4 and sometimes overtime, obviously more quarters of complete football. Can you talk about, in terms of what you saw this past weekend, that was needed in the steps of moving in that direction, and why is that important at this time?
Well, the one thing that we did this week, when you're coming off of 3 games, when it's not in your favor and you don't win, it's tough. It's tough. All heads are hung down. Everyone's trying to figure that thing out. So I had to go back to the drawing board last week in terms of practice, and you in a routine. And I tell people winning is contagious, but so is that L word. That's contagious as well. So if you continue to do the same thing and you're getting the same result, okay, maybe it's best that you change some things up. So we decided to change some things up in practice, in our scheme of things, and how we, time-wise, how we delegate time for certain things. And that really, really helped and improved our competitive nature going into the game. It showed that week of practice last week was exactly how the game went. We started off slow. The kids didn't quite understand in the early parts of the week on why we were doing things different. And then come Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, it clicked. And next thing you know, our practices look really, really good compared to Monday and Tuesday. So, just changing the way you do things and how you manage and how you coach was the biggest thing for us. And, I'm hopeful that, things will start going up from here and give us a better opportunity to win on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, do we have any more questions for Coach Milstead? All right, Coach, thank you for being with us today and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Take care. The Hornets will host the Virginia Lynchburg Dragons on Saturday in Dover, Delaware. Kickoff will be at 2 p.m. at Alumni Stadium. The game will be broadcast live on the MEAC digital network on ESPN+. I saw Coach Scott pop in with us. So Coach Scott, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about the little mix up earlier. We're already in trying to pick up the pieces on a short week and get going. So,
I definitely understand. Well, Coach, you notched your first victory as a head coach of the Bison this past Saturday. How does it feel?
I don't know. It felt really good. It felt good to have some positive things happen. And, all the things that we've been talking about with the kids and staying consistent and staying in the fight and keep swinging and battling, paid off. And it really came at a really good time for us. It was kind of what Coach was talking about a little bit. It's the first week we've actually we're able to practice every day and have a complete week of practice and all those type of things. So you saw a lot of things come together for us there, and the kids just kept believing all the way down to the final second. And they played hard, and from here it's like same way we've been dealing with the adversity of not being on the other side of the column. You have to celebrate it. Obviously, we want to do that, but we got to get right back to the drawing board pretty quickly as we play again on Friday night.
Right, about midway through the second quarter, your defensive line started playing inspired football and quarterback Quentin Williams started clicking with his passing. Talk about Williams as well as the play of your defense.
I think we start on the defensive side of the ball because that's probably the group that we've really challenged the most to pick up their play and just the intensity in which they play and those type of things. And I think they did that. They met that challenge. And sometimes young people, they want to be challenged, and you have to present certain challenges and present them in different ways to get different behavior. And so they really stepped up to that challenge and did a really good job with buckling down there when we needed to. And Quentin's just steadily getting, better every week. We talked about rating the turnovers. We didn't have a turnover this week. Making good decisions and choices with the football, understanding when you need to pull it down and use your legs and those type of things. And he's doing a lot better job of that. And meanwhile, keeping his eyes down the field and finding receivers down the field too as well. So he's definitely taking the small steps and the steps that we talk about with the quarterback play. You can't fix it all at one time. You got to take small bites off of it every week. And then hopefully by the time you get to where we are right now with conference play coming up, we get a pretty sharp product. So we're happy about his development and where we are. We just got to continue to do some of the smaller things a little bit better. And we will each and every week.
Awesome. As you mentioned, this Friday will be your first conference game, a date with Morgan State. What are your thoughts about the Bears and finally getting a chance to play a conference game?
Well, if you know Coach Wheatley, he's going to have those guys ready to play. It's got a bit of a rivalry feel. Man, it's going to be a special night. I mean, I don't think Howard's hosted a home night game in over 20, 25 years. So to have a chance to get under the lights here on the Hill in the Mecca is going to be special for our students and all, and our faculty, administration, our players. With Morgan being right down the road, like I said, it has a rivalry feel to it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans, a lot of people at the game, and it'll be an exciting atmosphere and environment. And I know he'll have those guys ready to play to, his personality, which they're going to play hard. They're going to be tough, and they're going to give us everything they got as they search for their first win.
Awesome. Those are my questions for you, Coach. Let's turn to the media, beginning with Mr. Hill.
Coach, congratulations on that victory, the first one at HU. When you think about that and reflect on it, what lasting memories and impressions do you walk away and move forward with?
I think just the fact that our kids are really learning how to play 4 quarters of football. And we've been talking about complementary football a lot in our program, where the offense and defense and special teams all, complement each other and have to work all together to have a team win. And we truly did there in the second half. When you look at the tail of the tape and you look at the field position, the average starting field position, and those type of things, our kicking game really took some strides and did a really good job and put our defense in more favorable field positions. And then, which enabled us to be in some pretty favorable field positions on offense and be able to do some things right there in the end. But I think the big thing is now we're a football team that's learning how to finish. At the end of the day, we're still behind a score going into the fourth quarter, held them scoreless and scored 2, and put 2 scores on the board there in the fourth quarter. So we're playing complete. We're learning how to play complementary football all together. We talk about it all the time. And we're learning how to do it for 4 quarters and finish the game. So with this big step from last week, where the Robert Morris game, where all we really had to do there was find a way to finish, and we kind of fell a little bit short. And we got over that hump this week, finding out how to come back from behind, battle for 4 quarters, and find a way to win.
Coach, the MEAC actually goes 4-2 out of conference last Saturday. Great showing moving forward. You talk about the Beltway, Baltimore and Washington, 2 cities right next to each other that overlap. It should be a memorable night on Friday. Can you just talk a little bit about the Hill and the big game coming up?
Absolutely. Like I just said, you look at it, it's Friday Night Lights. You go back to it, and most of us and all of them really started and fell in love with football on Friday nights, high school football, so it's special that way to have the lights on here on campus and give our students a Friday night environment of a football game. And not only that, but just like you said, with them being right down the road, their fans and everyone, I think it's going to set up to be a pretty electric, classic type atmosphere without it being a classic. But a lot of relationships amongst the players. A lot of these guys know each other, played against each other in high school and did all those type of things and keep in touch and talk now. So I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be pretty pumped up, and the fans, I think, will be into it, and it'll be a pretty electric evening for us here in the MEAC.
Thank you, Coach Scott, and good luck.
Thank you.
Dr. Cavill?
Yes, Coach Scott, I wanted to revisit the last week's game. Team came in with a lot of fortitude, got down early, but fought back. You talked about the play of your defense, but I also wanted to ask in terms of your quarterback, Quentin Williams, 14-28, as you know, 209 yards, 3 touchdowns. Played a pretty solid game there. Talk about what your offense was able to do late in that game, particularly in the fourth quarter.
I think what was really good about it was Sacred Heart does a really good job defensively, schematically. And they give you a lot of different things. They show you a lot of different looks. And for him to be able to come in and kind of manage the game that way, take care of the football, like I said, not put it in jeopardy or turn it over, make really good choices to pull the ball down and run for first downs, or, go slide and go get us 7-8 yards and use your legs and slide and protect yourself and protect the football was a huge step in the progression of really him becoming the type of quarterback that he's capable of becoming. He's really starting to find some receivers and guys that are going to make plays for him out on the perimeter, which does nothing but build his comfort level and his confidence in our guys and our receivers and tight ends and backs. And we've been doing a pretty good job of protecting him with all the various looks and stunts and blitzes and twists and different things that we've been getting from these out of conference teams. Has really, I think, been a really good progression to where we were from ground level 1 to where we needed to be and feel good about where we are going into our conference games. So been happy with the week by week progression of his development. and in his role and understanding the offense and playing and putting us in situations to have a chance to win the game. And he's been doing a better job of that week after week.
Coach, moving forward, as we analyze the conference game against Morgan State, talked about the regionality of that game. Obviously, it's on ESPNU, which takes it up a notch, Friday Night Lights. But talk about some of the frameworks that you want your team to get done in this matchup against Morgan State Bears to be successful.
I think at any point in time, what you want to see from your team is a continuous progression of getting better. Okay, so what you have to do as the head coach and as the staff, we have to lay out, 2 to 3 things that, hey guys, in the progression of what we've been doing, here's the next step. Here's what we got to take. I don't care who we're playing. It could be Jones Junior High. At the end of the day, here's the 2 or 3 things that we need to shore up, get better at, to continue to build the program, not the team. And I leave no stone unturned when it comes to that. From the way that we carry ourselves in the hotel, the way that we dress as we approach the game, starting new traditions on the hill in the Mecca as the Bison walk, with walking across the yard before we start the game. All of those things are keys and a progression to learning how to win and playing with the type of pride and passion that you need to for not only each other, but for your university, for our brand, for who we are. So I think at the end, it's the complete body of how we win and why we do the things that we do, and being intentional in that. So I think for us, it's to take those 2 or 3 things, incorporate new traditions, incorporate who we are and what we're all about, and to all of that being the formula for success and why we win. So we're going to attack those 2 or 3 things, both offensively, defensively, and the kicking game, and we're going to get better at that. And we hope in the progression of what we've been doing is good enough to win.
Thank you, Coach, for sharing that perspective.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes, good morning, Coach. This is Michael Jefferson with Block Sports. And my question to you, congratulations on that first win.
Appreciate it. Thank
my
you.
question to you is, having gone through last week's game, and it was a very good game that you guys played, and winning this game this weekend, what do you think that transition was that showed your players, you know what, we're almost there? What do you think that transition was from last week's game to this week's game that says, you know what, we're here, we can win it, and we are over the hump now?
It's like anything else, human nature in people, right? There's always a skepticism or the doubt that kind of still lingers just a little bit as to does the process that we're going through work? Does it really work? And you gotta the whole motivation behind it's got to be faith. You got to teach kids to believe in their process. And as we go through the process, to process anything is the refinement of it all, right? So that's the additions of some things. That's a subtraction of some things. And we're going to go through the additions and subtractions. We're going to add a little bit. We're going to take a little bit away. We're going to do all of those things until we got that process pretty, pure, the pure form of what we are, who we are, and the standard in which we want to represent when we play. But again, you want to let them understand how the whole body of it holistically comes together with class attendance and class performance, the way that you dress, the way that you carry yourself, the way that we do everything, everything that we do, plays into that. And I think what happens is over time, you start to throw out doubt. Doubt becomes not a part of the process. And it's the expectations that every time I step out on the field, we expect to win because I know how to win every day. I know how to win in everything that I do. The way from when I wake up Sunday morning to when we step on this field on Friday or Saturday, I've won. I've already won. And so when we get out here, it's to play loose, it's to play under control, it's to play with the type of confidence and passion and pride that we're talking about building in this program. And I think that's what we're starting to see. The guys starting to taste a little bit of what that all is. And they're really bought into the process of how we do things, not just on game day. We start that from the very beginning of Sunday, of winning the game on Saturday. It starts today. So I think when you're starting to see them really, really buy into that process, believe in it, and apply it, and then hold each other accountable to it each and every day. So it's not only coming from coaches now, it's becoming a locker room brand process.
Awesome. Coach, thank you very much, and much success on your upcoming game.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Mr. Duvall.
Hey, Coach, I just want to say congratulations on your win, your first win. And
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
This is Duvall comparing you.
Doing well.
A quick question and really reiterate what the other people were talking about in the past conversation about, you playing against Morgan and Friday Night Lights. You got a lot of things going on this week. What is your emphasis in the game plan for Friday night and gearing up to Friday night for this week, practice and preparation and, what your quarterback did this year? I mean, this week. I'm sorry.
Again, it's just the process. We're not focused on the opponent. The opponent is always us. The opponent is you. The opponent is us. We don't focus on who that is. I mean, the name of the school or whatever, that at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. We're our biggest opponent each and every week. Are we doing the things that we control to the best of our ability each and every day? Are we winning personally? And personal wins ends up being team wins. And are we winning on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before we ever get to the game? So for us, it's just to really stay process driven, really focus on the things that we need to do better. And it just so happened that they're the next opponent. It just so happened that it's Friday night. And it just so happened that it's ESPN. Those are the things that we don't control. What we control is how we prepare through our process to be ready to go play and put the best product that we can on the field.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any more questions for Coach Scott? Coach Scott, thank you for taking the time with us this morning. Get back to preparing for Friday. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. See you next week.
Take care. The Bison will play at home this Friday against Morgan State. Kickoff will be at 8 p.m. at Green Stadium in Washington, D.C., and the game will be seen live on ESPNU. Up next, we have Dawson Odoms of Norfolk State. Good morning, Coach Odoms. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing? Doing great.
I am well. All right, Coach, you got your first taste of the Battle of the Bay this past weekend with NSU winning 47-44 in overtime. Recap that game for us.
Well, first of all, I think Coach Pruitt and the Hampton Pirates are a very good football team. And we knew it was going to be a tough challenge, especially going across the water on the road, playing against a very talented Hampton Pirate football team. But we believe we're a talented football team. We just play in spurts. And we went through the first half and they made some plays. They playmakers stepped up and made some plays. Offensively, we made some plays. And next thing you know, you look up and it's like halftime is 27-17, and you look your team in the face and you just encourage them and you inspire them. And I think that's just a gift. I think understanding that every halftime is going to be different. Every message is going to be different. We're growing. We're growing as a team, and we're going through this thing together. So you have to learn the heartbeat and trust that what you're asking the good Lord to give you is everything that you need. And so when I go into the locker room, you give them something that's going to encourage them, but it's all about believing. And I think that's what starts with this football team, is believing that you're a good football team and come out in the second half and really play inspired football, because it's an uphill climb because you're down by 10. I thought Carter was as advertised. He gave us a chance. He led the offense up and down the field, and we're very talented on that side of the ball, and we can score with probably anybody in the country. And they moved the ball against everybody that we played, so we knew we was going to make some plays. Our offensive staff does an outstanding job of getting those guys prepared week in and week out, and we just knew we just had to make some plays. Once we took the lead and our crowd erupted, next thing you know, they make a play. We go back and forth in the second half, but it's a classic battle. I think it's what these games are all about. Anytime I tell people all the time, anytime the distance is a short drive, it's usually going to be an impactful game and an exciting football game. And this was my first one, and I think this team is growing. We got some guys that's out, that's beat up, that's banged up. We get a much-needed bye week. But like I told them, next guy got to be ready. Nobody cares. We're still going to kick off. And you got to go make plays. And some of those guys stepped up and made some plays down the stretch to help us win that football game.
Awesome. Your defense forced 4 Hampton turnovers, and the offense racked up 496 yards of total offense. Was this the complete game that you envisioned it would be?
Well, I think the last 2 weeks It took total team effort. And I think that's growing. That's signs of you growing as a football team. You're not going to always play dominant on offense. You're not going to always play dominant on defense. You're going to not always be dominant on special teams. But I think together as a football team, we're doing a lot of things very well, that we're playing complementary football. I heard the offense come over and say, just get it back to us. We got y'all back. Defense, hey, let's get a stop out. They can't stop our offense. You're hearing things and you're hearing dialogues amongst the players that you didn't hear when we first got here. And you can see that this football team is changing. And this football team is a scary football team because we still got some pieces missing that we're starting to get back, and we're starting to get healthy. Got a bye week, and we got homecoming coming up, and we getting ready for the conference play. But I think this is one of those football teams, everybody on the calendar or on radar is saying, who are those Spartans? But we're getting better and we're getting confident, and those two ingredients go together.
Awesome. As you mentioned, you have an open week this weekend. What's the plan for the weekend practice?
Get them healthy. We're going to practice. We're going to work on the fundamentals, work on some things that we haven't been doing very well, improve on our special teams, but a lot of fundamental and getting our guys healthy, cutting back some on our practice time just to make sure that we cut down on the banging, just to make sure that we get our football team healthy, because we know this is the last one and we get ready to go into the stretch run, and you want to make sure you got all your guns loaded. So we're going to make sure that we got a good football team going down the stretch, a healthy football team. Hopefully we can continue to play well and continue to win.
Sounds good, Coach. Those are all the questions I have for you. We will now switch to Mr. Hill with his question.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir. Your running game, J.J. Davis and KJ. Can you just talk about those gentlemen moving the chains and getting first downs and just moving the football down the field?
Well, I think we have a very good offensive line. Those guys have been really working hard. Coach Torrey does a great job of getting the most out of those guys, but we're talented at the running back position. You mentioned two guys that are very talented. We play about 4 guys at that position, and we rotate those guys in. And the biggest thing with them is just make sure we always get up with the football. And those guys have been doing a great job of that, and they run hard and run with great intelligence. But he couldn't do it without the offensive line. So I think our running game is as good as it is because 2 factors. Our O-line is pretty good and our quarterback's pretty good. You can't load the box up to just try to stop our running game because we have one of the dynamic passers in college football, not only the MEAC. He's proven to everybody week in and week out that he can deliver the football on time and he can make every throw. And we got guys that can catch it. So they're hard to stop. We see it every day in practice. They make you defend sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone. But we do have some talented running backs, and hopefully we can continue to stay healthy at that position and be able to run the ball going down the stretch.
Coach, in closing, back in your days as a player, you experienced big-time HBCU rivalries at Central. Recently in the SWAC, you experienced and coached up Southern in the Bayou Classic. This past weekend, you went across the Bay and experienced one of the greatest rivalries in the country when we look at Norfolk and Hampton. What is your takeaway from that experience, having coached it and walked away with a W?
Well, it's always good to walk away with a W, but I think the intensity and attention to detail and what I learned from my days as a player is that you don't make it too big of a deal. Sometimes we can make too much pressure of a situation and our players not able to perform because we create the anxiety for them. But we try to keep a relaxed environment for our players and just let them know it's the next game. We understand the impact that this game has on our institution, our community, our players, bragging rights, our fans, and our fans showed up. And I take my hat off and thank Spartan Nation for showing up, coming across the water through all the COVID restrictions that they had. We had a good atmosphere over there, and it's just great to play in those games. I think that's why a young man would choose to come to Norfolk State, because of games like this that we played in the Battle of the Bay.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brian Smith.
Coach, good morning. You were talking about the bye week. Coaches obviously want to have your players be healthy and stuff, but also you're riding a 3-game winning streak. How tough is that to kind of inside kind of go, and I wish we could kind of keep going if it weren't for this winning streak? Or you just kind of, it's okay, we'll be okay?
Well, I think we'll be okay. I think the history, we have a plan. And I think every year I've had a bye week, we've created a plan for that particular team. It's never the same plan. Certain teams can't handle certain plans. So we'll have a particular plan in store for this team and one that we think is fitting for this time of year. And that's just being able to adapt to what you're going through and what you're about to face, and just having the mindset collectively to put the best plan in place. But this plan will be about getting our football team healthy and working on the fundamentals. And we know that because we don't have another bye coming, and we're going to play at least 6 or 7 games in a row, hopefully. And that's what we're looking at so that we can get our football team healthy going down the stretch.
One follow-up, you talked about during the game against Hampton of how your offensive players and defensive players were really communicating. Is this team, in your eyes, showing who you are as a coach? They're the embodiment of what you're trying to get across in terms of the process.
100%. I think that if you saw them previously and you see them now, it's a lot of differences, but it's a lot of similarities. We're one heartbeat. We're one team, all the way down to our socks. We're going to be Spartan football, and our players understand that. We're going to hang our hat on discipline. We had an incident Saturday where a player got a 15-yard penalty. Had he not got a 15-yard penalty, it was offsetting. It would have been first down and goal in regulations with us a chance to win the game. It is those things that we're trying to instill in young men, that we play a certain way because we never know when those things are going to come back to bite us. And that young man was benched for the rest of the game. And I say things to our team all the time, and I'm going to hold myself accountable to carrying out the consequences that come with that. We're building something. It's taking on the personality of who we are in the process. And I think people are seeing it right before their eyes. It's tough because we got here in May, and to be able to get that process taught from July to what we are now, first, it's a testament to our assistant coaches and our players for buying in and saying, you know what, let's try a coach way and see how it works. And so far it's been working, and hopefully we can continue the work going down the stretch.
All right, Dr. Cavill.
Coach Odoms, I wanted to talk about that movement, the philosophy about building a team. Where did that come from over your maturation of learning different aspects of reading individuals about building the character of a team to try to move them forward to the ultimate destination of a conference championship?
Well, I believe it's not something that everybody has. It's not something that every head coaches have. I mean, we all have different qualities and characteristics that make us great in our own right. But I'm a studier of people that have done it. You look at the great coaches that are out there, they took over programs that may not have been great. How did they get those programs consistent day in and day out? And I don't want to just be a champion and recognized as a champion. I want to be recognized as a consistent winner. And because if you're a consistent winner, you're going to chase more championships. And that to me is our philosophy, is that can we be a winner year in and year out? And just understanding these young men that you're dealing with today, they have a lot of issues, a lot of outside factors. Mental illness is real, and it does exist. And just being able to put your arm around them. I don't think I've hugged so many players since I've been here doing a football game, and just looking at them in the eye and just tell them that, hey, this your last one if it's a senior, that, hey, we got to leave it all on the field. And just getting these guys to buy in, getting these guys to believe, and just letting them know that I love and care about them. I think that's first and foremost. And I think the more they hear that, the more they see that, the more willing they are to run through that wall. And we got a football team that's really starting to believe. And it's taken us some time to get to this point. But I think this game that we played in the Battle of the Bay was the injection that we needed to get everybody going in the same direction. And for those that still are not buying in and believing, then we go push them to the side and keep going down the stretch. And hopefully we in contention come later on this month.
Thank you, Coach, for that perspective.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jefferson.
Good morning, Coach Odoms. And again, congratulations for this 3-game winning streak you're on. You've alluded to how the team has started to take on your philosophy. But my question to you is, at what point do you think was the true turning point that the team started to buy in, that the team started to say, you know what, we can build something and we can be a winning team and build and develop a winning tradition?
I don't know the exact point because every day we've been just chopping wood, carrying water. We've just been trying to follow the process. And whatever little thing it is that we need to address, we've been constantly addressing those little things, from back flaps being uncovered to shirt tails not being tucked in. And when you see them start to address it, you at least know they're hearing it. To the locker room looking a certain way and just making sure we're hanging everything up and just constantly reminding them of that process is that we're not going to win, guys, unless we do the little things over and over and over correctly. And that's what it's all about. The big things will happen. The 70-yard touchdown passes are going to come as long as we catch the ball on the 5-yard hitch. And that's sort of the process. It's nothing that nobody else is probably trying to do, but being collective as a staff to get guys to do it is where I think it stands out, and just getting everybody on the same page. We go eat pregame meal. Our guys, hey, stack your plates up. Do it. Let's go. We know we short-handed in our cafeteria staff, so let's help them. And it's just all the little things. And it's a lot of things going into what we're doing and how we're doing it. And we're doing it in a short period of time. I can't imagine where we would be had this process started in January. But I'm glad where we are, and I think we will continue to grow together. And I wish I had these seniors back for one more year because I think they're starting to enjoy it and they're seeing that we're building something special, and hopefully we can continue to do it and they're laying the foundation. And I'm so grateful to be in their life for a short period of time. But we have a process, we follow it, we understand it, and we preach it every day. And our guys are starting to believe in it and starting to buy into it. And hopefully the best is in front of us.
Awesome. Congratulations, Coach, and much success on the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any more questions for Coach Odoms? All right. Hearing none, Coach, thank you for being with us today and enjoy your open week.
Always a pleasure. Behold, the green and gold.
Thank you, Coach.
Take care. Norfolk State will be off this weekend, but will be back in action on October 16th when they host Virginia Lynchburg at William Dick Price Stadium. Up next, we have head coach Buddy Pugh from South Carolina State. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Fine, Karen. How are you this morning?
I am well. All right, jumping right into it. The Bulldog hosted former MEAC foe Bethune-Cookman on Saturday and held on for a 42-35 win. How big of a victory was that for the Bulldogs?
It was big, Karen. And, when you hadn't won a game, you are concerned that you can, whether you can or not. So to win a game Saturday was really big. We started off kind of fast, got the ball on the field, mixing it up, passing and running, and got them for a score kick off to them. And they run it back for a touchdown untouched. We get it again and kind of go back and forth for a little bit, but we finally get our offense really going. At the half, we're 28-7. Thinking we're in pretty good shape. We come out the second half and do okay. Get stopped a time or two, but we ended up being at a pretty good pace. By the end of the third quarter, we were leading 42-7. And then we go into the fourth quarter, and then all hell breaks loose. And they end up getting we end up giving them a score or two, having a penalty or two to keep some drives going, and end up getting into a shootout in the last quarter. They end up scoring 28 points in the fourth quarter, and we end up getting a onside kick at the very end of the quarter, and being able to go ahead and kill the clock from there. But it was a little bit of a hair experience at the very end, but we won. And, at this point, we're happy with that. We won one in a row now. So we're trying to get, ready for FAMU this weekend down in Tallahassee.
All right, and as you prepare for FAMU, what are some of the things you're going to work on this week?
Well, we're going to work on not giving up 28 points in the fourth quarter, first off.
Okay. And like we said, we're facing FAMU this weekend. Give us a preview overall of what you expect from this game.
Well, it'll be a usual South Carolina State FAMU kind of game, I'm sure. Coach has got a dynamic offensive attack going with one of the, I guess, more prolific receiver groups in the whole country. Got guys running around all the place that can run. You going to Florida, you're going to always run into guys that can run and jump and catch, do that kind of stuff. And then defensively, they're playing well. They've got maybe like 5 graduate transfers or grad students on their defensive side of the ball. So they're really experienced there. And they got size and speed, and their physical is all get out. So it'll be a tough game for us. They shut out a good Alabama State team this past weekend. They're 2-2. They played 2 guaranteed games early in their season, kind of similar to a lot of us. And, they're now on the trying to get back on their feet tour. And, it'll be interesting to see, what we look like against them this coming Saturday. We had a knockdown drag out 2 years ago. We didn't play last year, of course, because of COVID. And, they came in here and beat us at their place. We were trying to, our university at that time was trying to celebrate my becoming the winningest coach in the history of the university. And they came in the latest for a week and beat us. The last time we played, had a 2-minute drill at the end to get down and score and beat us. I think it was like 38-35 or something like that. So it'll be something similar to that, I hope, at least I think. Hopefully we'll be on the long end this time, but now it won't be because we just out here messing around. We got to get ourselves ready to play.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck. We will now head to our media for questions. Mr. Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. James, how you?
Yes, sir. Pretty good. Congratulations on that victory.
Thank you.
The running game, Anthony Benson and the other gentleman, Mr. Flowers, they ran the ball well. They scored. They hit pay dirt. And also, as advertised, Mr. Corey Fields played his game. Can you just talk about the Bulldogs and you guys really had a bite going on this weekend?
Well, you're exactly right. All 3 of our running backs scored, which is a little bit unusual. And then about, I guess, the most of our receiving corps had good games also. We had 2 receivers that had about 100 yards in receptions, Shaq Davis and Will Vereen. Corey Fields, our quarterback, threw the ball for a little over 300 yards and has consistently now started to be in that neck of the woods as far as his numbers are concerned. So we'd like to get his percentages up a little bit. We'd like to see if we could get it overall over into at least about the 60% range. And, there are some issues that we are still trying to develop, correct, what have you with him. But there are times when he's a pretty good looking quarterback. And, we enjoy seeing him throw it around a little bit. So our offensive side of the ball for about 3 quarters played about as well as you could play. And, from that point, we seem to come off the tracks a little bit, but that's our big task this week is to figure out how to get us back on and keep us on the track. It's a good lesson. I think we may have gotten a little bit too big for our britches there right at the very end and kind of let our guard down a little bit, but it's a good lesson in momentum and finishing the deal. You get a chance to, understand when you see a situation such as the one that we went through on Saturday, what can happen if somehow or another you don't go all the way to the finish line.
Coach, Bethune-Cookman University, BCU, as well as Florida A&M are 2 teams that you know very well due to the history in the MEAC. Both of those 2 programs are in the SWAC. You'll get an opportunity to go into the highest of 7 hills this weekend. FAMU just enjoyed themselves with Alabama State. Just talk about going in there and what you envision this week.
Well, you envision a knockdown, drag out, I guess, exciting show. It's one of the best college football atmospheres, in the country. FAMU and all of their pomp and circumstancery. They've got all the different kinds of bells and whistles, bands and cheerleaders and people, big crowds, student sections giving you a hard time, throwing stuff at you. You name it. There's all kinds of stuff going on, in a game such as this. So, we expect a real exciting atmosphere in a game where, both teams will be up and really enthusiastic about playing. It'll be a lot of fun. I enjoy Coach Willie Simmons and in a whole lot of different kinds of ways. We talk all the time. We won't talk very much this week because we arch enemies for about 7 days. But after that, then we'll be sharing ideas and talking about all kinds of stuff, trying to make sure that we both try to get our programs better. It's a great competition. It's fun to, match wits with these hot new whippersnapper coaches that's out there today. It's a bunch of them out there. You just heard Dawson Odoms a few minutes ago, Coach Scott Howard. We get a chance to go down and play one of the top young guys, in the country. It's no telling where Willie Simmons will be in another, 5, 8, 10 years from now. So, I'm just looking forward to going down and having a good football game. It's fun to play these guys. So I'll be, if they make me buy a ticket, heck, I'll buy a ticket and get in this game Saturday.
Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend and a good week.
Thank you, James.
All right, Mr. Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach P, how you doing this morning, man?
Hey, Ty, how are you this morning?
I'm good. Now, you just said that those coaches, Dawson Odoms, Willie Simmons, are whippersnappers. So if they're whippersnappers, what are you?
I'm an old fogey. I got more. I've been to more games than those guys have seen. I played. This is 40 some odd years for me now. I don't necessarily want to get into that, but at the same time, I've been around a little bit longer than that.
When's the last time you had a game like this where you were up by such a large score, 35 points, and it looked like the players checked out or just stopped doing their assignments?
Well, you know what? I don't know if I've ever had one, that with that drastic a change, turn around in the fourth quarter. But it can happen. So, if you hang around here long enough, most anything will happen.
Now, the team is gearing up for the MEAC schedule. Of course, it's out of conference again, but it's like playing an old rivalry again. How much will this help you going down the stretch in terms of the MEAC race?
Let's hope a bunch. We've had a real hard-nosed preseason, maybe pre-conference schedule. Everybody from the Clemson of the world, down to FAM and Bethune, and later on over in our schedule, we play NT again also. I think it's part of our philosophy that we'll continue to try to play the top HBCU rival kinds of games that we played on previously in the past. And I just think it's a good thing. I think it's a fun deal to have a natural kind of rival that way that we can build on for the future. The one thing that that these schools all have in common, they've got, good places to play, the atmosphere is good, the competition is good, the bands are good, you get all the different kinds of bells and whistles for building and developing a good following for these particular games. So you don't ever have to worry about us playing, a Bethune or FAM or those kinds of, and there's no interest. So I think that might be, what will continue to give us the opportunity to, or at least the excitement about playing each other from years to come.
And Coach, besides focusing on things like finishing this week with the team in preparation for Florida A&M, will you also talk about things like the kicking game? Because there were several onside kicks, you lost one, so that could be a big part of the game coming up this week.
Yeah, that'd be big. Yeah, we'll try to see if we can fix some of that kind of stuff. Yes.
All right, well, hey, good luck, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Guy. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Duvall.
Sorry about that. Hey, Coach, this is Daryl Duvall. I just want to say congratulations on the win.
Thank
You
you.
know, you won it. You won it 4, and you playing a 1-4 team this coming week. But you've had a pretty hard schedule.
Wait a minute now, you say
Swag,
what now? All right, say it again now. We 1-3, I think. And the
1 and
team
4,
playing
1 and 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 4, right? 1 and 4.
No, I think we 1-3, but now
Right, 1 and 3. But y'all had
actually we are 4-3 because we won 4-4. I guess we won 3 games in the spring in 2020.
Oh, so you had those games up too.
Well, I mean they played them in 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we actually the spring we 1-3. We had a bye week in there somewhere. So
Right.
that kind of, yeah. And FAMU is 2-2, aren't they?
FAMU is 1 and 3, but you had them other games, and it might be a different
FAMU beat Fort Valley State, and they also beat Alabama State this past weekend. That's 2. They lost to South Florida, and they lost to Jackson State. So they're 2-2.
All right. But you all, so I kind of go back to what we just talked about on the y'all play some pretty hard teams. And your offense has been in there a lot. I guess I just want to say, what are y'all going to be doing this week? Obviously, defense is going to be the main thing that you're going to be working on in practice this week because of I mean, you all have been in the games. It's just the defense. You just gotta, you've had some problems with that.
Yeah, we've had some pretty high totals, numbers wise, points wise, I guess I ought to say, that our defense has allowed. And Coach, so now this past week, 21 of those points were probably attributed to either kicking game or to offense. So they didn't play quite as badly. For 3 quarters, our defense played really well. They were shutting Bethune out for 3 quarters. That last quarter, it kind of got away from us. But what actually created the issue was not our defense. It was our offense and our kicking game. So, yeah, we want to continue, though, because FAMU is so dynamic offensively, though. We still got to work like there's no tomorrow on being, a lot better defensively for sure. And there for a while, the last time we played them, the first half in particular, they basically shut our offense down. So I can tell you that, we've had our troubles with Willie Simmons' teams here the last, couple of times we played them. And it's really, really, a tough football game for us. So we got our work cut out for us. Are you muted? Nope. Do y'all hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
The last question I have is, how are you dealing with the COVID rules? Obviously, you haven't had that many kids who've had problems with testing. And so I just kind of, because I mean, I think both conferences from past have had problems in the past year, but not, it seems like you all haven't had any problems.
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate. Coach, now fortunate is when, preparation means opportunity. We kind of get ourselves at a place. We kind of got ourselves to a point where, we don't have some of the outlay that a lot of other schools have. Our guys are vaccinated. All of them, 100% of them.
Well, good luck. Thank you. Good luck on the game this week. And I look forward to revisiting come next week when y'all win that game.
Thank you. Thank you. That sounds like the time I want to be here.
I know.
After we win. If it doesn't happen, I might not show. Okay.
You might not show up.
No, I'll be here.
All right.
Regardless.
All right, Dr. Cavell.
Yes, Coach Pugh, just want to talk about a little more about the matchup. Used to playing, as you said, Coach Simmons, young, hot coach, getting it done in a different manner. Just talk about this matchup. Is it as physical as the last matchup you had with BCU, or is this a different type of matchup in terms of how they play the game?
I think it's similar, but you know what? It's a Florida football team, and anytime you go in that direction, there's 2 things you're not going to outrun them, and you're not going to out condition them. Those guys are always prepared because they practice every day in the hot sun, and they go going to come back from out in the fields where they're running rabbits and that kind of stuff. So they got all kinds of little traditions and itches and that kind of stuff that they do that's going to give them a little bit of an advantage in the run, jump, and catch business. So, it's kind of that deal. But now this FAMU defense is physical as all get out. And I think a large part of that is due to the fact that they're so experienced. It's an older group of guys. They've got a bunch of juniors and seniors and grad students playing, on that team. And that's one of the byproducts of this COVID time of our existence here, is that you're getting a lot of older football teams because you got guys staying longer and they're getting extra years of eligibility. So, that's kind of what you get in that particular situation. So these guys are just that kind of team. They're old and ornery, and they're getting better as they go because the maturity factor, along with the fact that they're mean, is a big deal.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have any more questions for Coach Pugh? All right, Coach, thank you for being with us today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. Take care. South Carolina State will travel to Tallahassee, Florida on Saturday to face the Rattlers of Florida A&M. Kickoff is slated for 6 p.m. at Bragg Memorial Stadium. Up next, we have Tyron Wheatley, head coach from Morgan State. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you. All right, Coach, your team has been knocking on the door of victory, but just haven't been able to barge through yet. Talk about the game with St. Francis this past Saturday.
Well, like you say, we're knocking. At some point, we're just going to have to battle ram this thing on in here, right? For a young team, all I ask is just for improvement every week. And each week we improve in all categories except for the W. And one thing I would just continue to say, this team has resolve, to continue fighting. Quarterback play was better. Running back play, we blocked well. But we had some injuries up front on the defensive line, and St. Francis took advantage of that. And, we just couldn't hold them off. However, no excuses. We just got to win, right? We got to win. Like you say, we're knocking. If they don't answer, we just got to kick the door in.
Right. In this shortened conference game week, what will be the focus of your practices this week?
Well, just back to fundamentals, right? Once again, you got to be able to execute. Execution is the name of the game. Just going back, correcting the small things that the fellas didn't quite get accomplished. And that's really it. Right now, the guys are buying in. They're buying in. They're there. But now it's time for them to just take it and own it. The ball is in the air, make the interception, grab it. Okay, we've had several opportunities to take pick sixes or just take the ball out the air, and we just didn't take those. We had several opportunities on offense where we're in the red zone, like you say, use your statement, we're knocking, but we basically self-denied ourselves. So, cut down on the penalties and stop self-inflicting wounds.
Awesome. The Howard Bison will be your first MEAC opponent of the season. What kind of contest should we expect?
Well, it's always, when you go down that road down to Howard, and it's going to be a tough one. And Coach Scott's doing an incredible job with that team. Offensively, they returned some starters. They're seasoned offensively. They got some pretty long, talented tight ends. So it's going to be a physical knockout game. It's going to be a good one.
Awesome, Coach. Those are my questions for you. We will now go to the media, beginning with Mr. James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, Mr. Hill?
Hey, pretty good. I hope you and everybody at Morgan are well these days. When you look at rivalry games and you think about the M on your hat, the brand of Morgan football, we know what that means. You think about Michigan, the Big Ten, Michigan and the Ohio State, and you've been there, done that. You think about the Giants and some of the big time rivalries you've been a part of in the NFC East. This weekend, Friday Night Lights, as we've alluded to, you talk about Morgan and Howard in DC. Talk about that particular game and how special and symbolic it is in the overall picture of HBCU.
Well, Mr. I'll tell you what, you just did an incredible job. You gave me goosebumps, man. I'm about to go put a helmet on after that one. Man, but that's what college sports is about, rivalry, right? That's what it's about. And you have two historic HBCUs going at it. And one of the biggest things right now is what we're trying to do is we're talking about here at Morgan is restore the tradition, restore the legacy. There have been great guys to come through this program, great guys that go through Howard, right? And we're trying to restore not only the legacy, but the rivalry, because there are so many implications that come across, right? Both of our first of our conference games, right? We want to get off to a great start. Now you're talking about recruiting the DMV. That also is in play, right? So it's huge implications with this game. And not only on top of that, both of our programs are pretty much in the same process of trying to turn it and getting it back to history, turning it back to getting it on the road where it needs to be. And, you know, that's what this thing is all about. So this game has a lot of implications, but we got to simple it down for our guys and say, hey, listen, but it still boils down to their football team, right? And it's my job to try and keep it within a context. Don't let it get too big for my guys. But for me as the head coach, I know what it's about, right? I know what it means, and I know the implications. And this game is going to be big. It's going to be big. You know, ESPN, the U can't get any better than that. Friday, like you say, Friday Night Lights. It's big.
Coach, in closing, building a football program, the Morgan brand, and the saga continues. Can you just talk about the footsteps you guys are taking as you move forward overall?
Well, the footsteps, right? So once you get to any place, you have to really find out like anything. I could have just came in and just started building on top of something and not really know what the infrastructure, not knowing what's under me at the foundation is. So you have to go in and really just tear it down. You just have to go in and tear it down and just demolish it, clean it up, and then just rebuild. And so now the steps where I'm at right now is getting the young men in place to understand where now it's their place. They can take it over. And a lot of them have not been in a place of leadership, right? So you're teaching them how to be leaders. You're teaching them how to win. You're teaching them resolve. And the biggest word right now is we're teaching them is the war of attrition. So attrition right now, right? They're tired. A lot of these young men haven't, it's their first year of college. So school, professors, midterms, football, it's a lot on them, but it's an attrition, right? It teaches them how to, the resolve, to work through it, mental toughness, all those things. And I tell you one thing, I love these young men. They are some of the best young men that I've ever been around, and they are growing and they're going. And that's, my head coach once said, once these dogs grow up, they're going to bite.
Coach, thank you. And congratulations on everything and continued luck going forward. I'll just continue to watch you coach, and I'll just stay over here with the microphone.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Cavell.
Coach Wheatley, you have me excited. Unlike Mr. Hill over there, I'm going to stay in my place, but I do want to ask you in regards to offensive and defensively, and starting with offensively, what are some of the things that you see that are improving, and what do you want to get done in this game against Howard in this big matchup?
Well, the offensive line play is improving, and that's a heck of a question. Great question. Offensive line players is improving. They're gelling. They're starting to truly understand, and they're slowing down, right? It's the old adage of, as the game goes, you got to be able to slow your mind down. They were so pumped up, they were so ready to go that they were moving so fast that they were overrun, missed cues. Now that they've settled in, they're starting to see it. All the things, the game is starting to slow down for them, right? Movement is starting to slow down. They're starting to really see the game plan. They're not just running lines, meaning they're looking at the playbook and they're just not being robots. They're starting to take it, they're starting to internalize it, and they're starting to slow it down. Our quarterback play is starting to slow down. It's the same thing with our quarterback. He's slowing down. Everything is starting to now come into picture. They're starting to have that, I see it moment, okay? That is good. Then defensively, I just think our guys need to settle in and understand making the play is just doing your job. These guys are so hungry and they're chomping at the bit where they want the interception, so they're trying to jump things. Playing cover 3 and being in your deep third is your job. That's making the play. So they have to understand making the play isn't always, quote unquote, getting your name called out or putting something in the stat column. Making the play is doing your job. You know, for me, by me being from Detroit, we talk about the assembly line. I can't do my job until you fix yours. So if I'm on the transmission line, right, I can't do anything until you do your job. Stop trying to do my job and everybody else's job. Just do yours. And then the next person in line can do his, and it all will fall together. And we'll have a beautiful automobile. We'll ride off into the sunset.
Coach Wheatley, I really appreciate you giving us insight in terms of the locker room and philosophy there in a lot of ways. Good luck this weekend. I look forward to seeing you go to work with the rest of the team. Take care.
Truly, thank you.
All right. Do we have any more questions for Coach Wheatley? All right, Coach, thank you for being here with us. We will let you get back to practice because we know you got a short week before you play on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Morgan State will travel to Washington, D.C. on Friday to face the Howard Bison. Kickoff will be at 8 p.m. at Green Stadium, and the game will be broadcast live on ESPNU. At this time, we'd like to conclude our weekly head coaches video conference. But before we end the call, as always, we'd like to thank the media members who showed up and participated today, the MEAC Sports Information Offices for their assistance with today's call. And as always, the MEAC would like to thank its corporate sponsors for their support. Our next call will be next Monday, October 11th, beginning at 10 a.m. And as always, for up-to-date news on MEAC football and other sponsored sports, log on to meacsports.com. Like the MEAC on Facebook, follow MEAC Sports on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to the MEAC Digital Network on YouTube. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. Please have a safe and enjoyable week, and we will see you next Monday.